Hi, I'm Ernie Conover. Welcome to my shop. Today I'd like to talk a little bit about putting mortise and tenon joints in spindle turnings. It'll solve some common turning problems and is a good thing to have in your bag of turning tricks. The most obvious is that you have a spindle that's longer than your lathe, and by turning it in two pieces and joining them together with a joint, you can get the job done in the equipment you have. And this floor lamp is a great example of that. I made this floor lamp in 1995. I made 3 of them actually. And the base is faceplate turned, of course, and then we have 3 faceplate turned bun feet under it. And it's about 1 foot in diameter, a big piece of mahogany. And then this extension of the base was turned as another part. It's spindle turned. And it started life as about a 3-inch square piece of mahogany. Both of these parts were drilled in the lathe. The shaft of the lamp is 35 inches long, which puts it just within the capacity of most workshop lathes. However, putting a center hole through this to run the wire could be a bit tricky, so I actually glued it together in halves and ran each half over a router table with a core box bit in it, which is just a bit with a round end on it. And that put the equivalent of a hole through the middle when I glued it back together. The wax cup, this lamp evokes 18th century candle lamp stands that they'd put around rooms, but it's of course electrified. So this wax cup that would have caught the candle drippings is faceplate turned, and finally the candle is spindle turned and started life as about 1.75 inches piece of mahogany, and it next down to 1.25 inches here. Turning this in pieces just made good sense and life much easier. Bedposts are another common use of joints in spindle turnings. This is pretty much a 18th century bedpost, and it about 6 foot tall, and by putting a joint right here in it and having it 2 pieces, it becomes much easier to get it from room to room or to another house. In 2006, I decided to build a bed based on this 18th century style turning, but beefed it up to 20th century neoclassical revival design, which made all these turnings bigger and beefier. The posts for this bed milled out to 4 inches square and were 8 feet long, and all 4 posts came from the same log, so they all matched grain and color wise. While I could have turned them at their full 8 feet, getting that piece of furniture from room to room or to another house would have been problematic, so decided to put a joint in the piece. For strength, I decided to put a steel pin in the joint. In 2016, I made a gaggle of these flax distaffs for my wife, who teaches weaving and spinning. And these are what are called a flax distaff, and this is flax, which comes from the flax plant, and it is spun into linen. And the spinner has these distaffs next to his or her wheel, which is generally a treadle wheel, and they're sitting down, and this allows them to tease this flax off and spin it and feed it into the spinning wheel to produce linen thread. Putting a joint in these flax stands makes putting the flax on them easier, and putting them in a car to take them someplace a lot easier. This is a flax distaff I made in 2014 for Susan, and she wanted this one to be adjustable in height to accommodate different wheels she works with. And so I made a shaft here that is of constant diameter. The head, I actually steam bent oak pieces for the basket of this, and I turned a neoclassical column and drilled it for a loose slide fit with this shaft. And then I put the 18th century cotter pin in it, a wedge. And I simply cut a little 3-degree taper slot into the inside bore of this, made a wedge. You simply position it at the height you want, and bingo, you've got height adjustment. Let's take a look at how we make a durable mortise and tenon joint in a spindle turning. Okay, I've roughed out the two halves of what'll be, say, a flagpole for a canoe that you could store in a toolbox. I want to drill a mortise that is somewhere around half the diameter of the turning at the spot where we're going to put the joint. So I put about a 1/2 inch drill. This is about 1 1/16 inches right in this area right here. So 1 1/16 inches there, 1/2 inch drill there. I'm going to put this against the drill, which is in the headstock, and I'm going to now put my tailstock against the center mark and picking up the original centers of our turning in this way. We're going to drive this against the drill and pretty much drill on perfect center in line with the axis of the turning. Starting this up, I'm going to keep my hand behind where I'm drilling so that I wouldn't get hurt in any way. So I'm going to drill about 1.5 inches deep, I suppose. And there we have our hole drilled. I've now tapered these down so that I have matching diameters here and here. And I've marked out my tenon length, and I'm going to cut a tenon that is a 1/2 inch in diameter. I'm going to make a little cut with a skew right there. I'll get out an open end wrench and a tool called a bedan, and I'll now put a little chamfer on the end. All right, I've turned till the wrench just drops over it. That'll usually be a little bit of a tight fit, so I usually go in and with a skew chisel now and just take a very light cut through there. Normalize that whole thing. I always like to have a nice little chamfer on the end so that it goes together easy. There we go. And we've concealed our joint here by putting a little bead at the transition point. When we're drilling big, heavy spindles for mortise and tenon joints, such as this bedpost, if you just try to put this against the drill and turn that, the weight of the turning will cause this drill to wander off center and it'll go cattywampus. So I devised a long time ago just a very simple fixture here. Fixtures guide the work and jigs guide the tool. A router jig would guide a router to cut the dovetail. This guides the work to go on the drill properly, so it's a fixture. This is just a simple V-block with a 1-inch piece of cold rolled steel I cut with a hacksaw, drilled a hole and epoxied it in the bottom of this V-block. I can put that in the banjo, and I've got it touching in 2 places here on this bead, and I have it lined up square with the axis of the lathe. And now when I start up the lathe and push that against the drill, it will drill on center. And you can see with perfect control over this piece, I am drilling a hole right on the axis of the turning. There, I've got 1 3/8 of depth now, and that should do fine with the steel pin I'm going to use for this post. That is how you make mortise and tenon joints. Put these techniques into your bag of tricks, and when you need to turn a long spindle that needs a joint in it, either because of the size of your lathe or for functional reasons, you've got it ready to go. Thanks for visiting my shop.